Okay guys, welcome back once again to the channel. So in this video I did mention that I'd be doing a follow-up video to this Ibanez RG570 that I recently purchased. I learned how to mic up my amplifier kind of halfway decent, just enough to give you guys an idea without having to use my camera mic, which always comes out just fizzy and just sounds like it is what it is. But learned how to do this a little bit, so I'll run you guys through what I have set up, the microphone, all that kind of stuff, so don't go anywhere, stay tuned. Guys, before we dig into the plugging and chugging, I just want to mention a little bit about this guitar, like why I got it and just kind of what was on my mind at the time. I think what it is the Ibanez, one of the cheapo Ibanez's that I had a number of years ago. It did me really well, and for whatever reason I just decided to sell it. I think just because I started to acquire just better stuff that at the time just kind of gelled with me a little more. Just kind of finding, like us guitar players, we can never have enough guitars, hence having this one in my life now. But I kept thinking about that guitar because it gave me that early 90s like scoop kind of death metal sound, like the way it sounded, the way it played, everything about it I really liked, and I was kind of trying to capture that again, I guess I could say. And I kept eyeballing one of these, and I know as a kid when I was younger, playing a lot of the early to mid 90s Ibanez stuff, in between me being such a huge Jackson fanboy, I always really liked the necks on the Ibanez's, just as far as, most of the stuff they do is all super strat kind of stuff, but I really like the neck profiles. And, the Ibanez's that I did get to play on as a kid, they always played and sounded really good. And knowing that this model was available for quite a few weeks and nobody was pulling the trigger on it, fortunately it was in my area at the local guitar center, so I wanted to see what was up with that, why nobody was purchasing it. So I just said, what the hell, I'm going to drive over to the store and I'll pull it off the rack and just see, what might be wrong with it or why nobody's, pulling the trigger on it. So when I grabbed it off the rack, I didn't even have to plug the guitar in. I just kind of looked it over, just to see if it had any cracks or just anything that might deter people from wanting to buy it. I really, especially for the price, this came with the original case and everything. And really it's, I would rate it as being very good condition considering its age. This is a 1991 Ibanez RG570. And yeah, when I pulled it off the rack, I kind of sat down with it, I tuned it up, and I just kind of fell in love with it. It's just one of those love at first sights kind of thing. And I had to have it. I couldn't leave the store without it, so I ended up buying it. And it has a lot of features on it that I just really get into, like the almost ebony, like rosewood fretboard. These necks on these too. I don't know. I guess when you get older and you played enough guitars, especially if you played stuff from the 80s, 90s, and then some of the stuff from the 2000s, you definitely feel the difference. It's just it's almost hard to explain. It's like those older models. They feel like a lot of craftsmanship and care, which you can visually see as well. It's just they just play and feel completely different than a lot of the newer stuff, especially, like the stuff coming out of Indonesia and, even questionably some of the Korean stuff and, some of these other countries that some of these guitars are coming out of. They don't feel and play the same as these older models. And I don't think they, for the most part, ever will. I mean, occasionally you'll get some good ones. I've experienced a good handful of Indonesia guitars too, and some of the other countries that some of these companies started building their stuff out of, where it was coming out of. But I swear nothing can hold a candle or even compare to this early Japanese stuff. Like this stuff, I mean, you look over the whole instrument, there's so much care, just so much attention to detail, just the passion for building instruments and getting them out that door before they get into the customer's hands, where you see all kinds of just crap wrong with them. It's just second to none. And like I said, when I not even having to plug this guitar, and I just knew it was going to be everything I was looking for, and sure enough it was. Everything on here is all original. The stock pickups, I I may have played one of these when I was a kid. I just don't quite remember because there was so many models, and still to this day, there's tons of these Ibanez RG models out there. But these pickups really are phenomenal. This is like those V1, V2 pickups, and I dropped the middle pickup because I don't like that. Not many of us guitar players like that. It just gets in the freaking way, and it's no exception for me because like it gets in my way of picking, so I try to drop it down as far as possible. And I did a full setup on this guy. I got the bridge, where it's supposed to be on these ones. These are a little bit different deal than like an original Floyd, the way you got to set them up. But I got the action as low as I could possibly get it for the little bit of fretwear that is on here, because whoever owned this guitar played the crap out of it, but took very good care of it. I mean, I showed in my previous video, I'll put a link in the description for you guys. You can see when I first got the guitar before I even, did a setup or anything of that nature. But there's just a couple, just little blemishes that aren't even really anything to talk about. Point of the headstock right here is in pretty good shape. Back of the neck, you see the typical cracks right here. None of that exists. Truss rod, everything works great. This has got those Goto tuners. Like I said, the original pickups. Yeah, everything's original on this sucker. Electronics still, you don't get any of that fuzziness, that crackliness. I don't know if these pots were replaced over time. I'm sure they have, because this guy definitely played the crap out of it, like I said. But I mean, maybe, yeah, there's just a little bit of scratching back here. But overall, very good condition for the age. I mean, what is that, 33 years old? That's crazy, But I had to have this guitar, and I'm glad I got it, because it has that 90s, just like that sound, like when you play this sucker, the low end that comes out of this thing, just the aggression, it just like when you chug on this thing, it feels like it's punching you in the freaking chest. It's awesome. It's a very inspiring guitar to have, and I'm so glad that I got it. I'm glad nobody else got this one but me. So without further ado though, I'm going to show you guys what we're going to be playing it through today, and then we'll chug some riffs, man. We'll go from there. So this current rig-a-ma-jig that I'm going to be taking through you guys today for this demo is this right here. This is the 440 Live Cab. This is a 2x12. I ordered this came from California. I found it on eBay, and they do have a website. I don't know, it's been a while since I've been on the website if they're still selling these cabs like this, but at the time I wanted just good old standby, vintage 30s, so I went with those, and then they build the cab in California when they get the speakers and ship it out to you. I almost went with greenbacks, but I didn't. Maybe somewhere down the road I might experiment with those, because I heard those are pretty kick-ass speakers. So I just decided, like I said again, I just wanted to go with Celestion vintage 30s, which I've always had pretty good luck with. So as far as the mic goes, this is a mic that I just kind of had laying around not doing nothing. This is an AKG P120, so I just decided to try that. That's a condenser mic, so it's not really focused on rigging up guitar cabs or anything like that. But I gave it a try, and yeah, the little demoing that I was doing earlier with it wasn't too bad. It's not picking up the low end like I wanted to, but it's enough to give you guys an idea of close to what this thing will sound like, because that Ibanez, just even with it missing some of the low end, it barks and growls at you. It's like a mean junkyard dog. It's sick. As far as the amp goes, so when I'm not playing on this one, I'm playing on my Randall RD1H. This is usually my go-to right here. I love this amp. I love the voicing of the distortion out of this. I mean, that's pretty much all you get out of this. There's no clean channel. It's just straight up aggressive, which I like. I'm usually always on the mean channel, so I'm glad this amp was built this way, because it's built for me, especially for my situation. I got to kind of keep it down where I'm at. So these amps, if you guys never checked them out, they go for pretty cheap. All the used stuff is starting to climb in price, but you can still get these pretty affordable. And yeah, if you guys are one of those people looking for, it's not super high gain, but we'll get to that in a minute, to push this and really give it the balls that it's looking for. So yeah, if you guys never checked out some of the Diablo stuff. Highly recommended. And I usually run it with this because it doesn't have a noise gate. So that's the key in the gate pedal. That's one of the best noise gates I've ever used. And as far as like what I was going to tell you guys for boosting the signal and giving it more what you want, a lot of options right here. This is the MXR 10 band KFK, and I always run this through the Randall. It gives you a sound like you wouldn't freaking believe. It's just awesome, especially for the death metal stuff. And then that's about where I keep the settings right there for currently, yeah, what it sounds like for me, what my ears are looking for. And then I got these settings right here, as you see in the lead channel. When I go to fire it up, actually we'll warm it up right now. So this is the PV Invective mini head 20 watt. And I actually played, I did play a show with this. This was a couple months ago. Played with these guys right here. Disorderlies. That's a hardcore punk slash grindcore. A little bit of everything kind of metal band. Had a lot of fun playing a couple songs with them on stage, and I brought this guy up there. They mic'd it up and had a really killer tone on it. So yeah, this thing kind of does everything for me. Plus, the other thing I like about it too is I can plug into the computer, plug into my interface, and yeah, I can use the cab simulator, and I get really good tones out of it with that too. So as far as anything else I might have to add to this before we go plugging away and making some mean tones, yeah, I don't have the proper mic stand, as you can see, so I just, you know, gave line 6 some kind of a job. You can tell how much I play it, all the dust on it. And then this guy is just kind of holding it there. I forget what the hell that is. How did I get that, and what is that doing here, and why is it pink? Ew. But anyway, that's kind of what I got going on. That's its job right now, is just kind of holding that in place. And that's the position I seem to get kind of the best tone overall for my first time ever miking up a cab. So without further ado, here we go. Let's freaking crush it. Alright guys, I ain't got nothing rehearsed for you, so we're just going to see what kind of brutalage we get out of here. I might throw an occasional riff or two that you guys might recognize or might not, but here we go. Let's see what we can get out of this monster. God damn, dude. you got Kev. God damn! What an amazing purchase. God, pat myself on the back for that one. I love you. So there you have it, guys. That's the demolition of the sound of this guitar. A couple other things before I take off, before I leave you guys. You guys are wondering what the tuning was and what kind of strings. This is still the strings that were on the guitar when I played the guitar in the store, and when I brought it home, they still had a little bit of life in them. So I'm kind of just having fun on them, just kind of just making them dead until they lose the life on them, which they're pretty much on their way out right now. But as far as the next set of strings that I'm going to throw on there, I already have prepared for that. D'Addario 11 to 49s. This is my favorite set of strings as far as what D'Addario has to offer. I've tried the NYXLs. I haven't tried the Pro Steels or some of the other stuff, the Chromes. I haven't tried any of those other strings for guitars. I have tried the Pro Steels on bass guitars. I do like those a lot. But as far as just overall best bang for your buck, best tone, the most lasting tone, the most life out of the string, I can never go wrong with these. The NYXLs, they're twice the price. I know I've talked about them in great lengths, especially with these strings. These are my favorites. The NYXLs, I just do not care for. They just seem to die out faster, and they just don't last as long, in my opinion, at least my experience. These have been way, way better. So I just stick with those. I always stick with what I like, what I enjoy. Before I ever got to D'Addario strings, I used to play Ernie Ball quite a bit. And once I started jamming back in the day when I was still in the band Gut Rot from Michigan, when I was playing with the other guitar player, John, he mentioned the D'Addarios, and I gave them a try, and I freaking fell in love with them. I've never looked back. Those have been my string of choice. Along the way, I've thrown Ernie Ball on some of my old stuff too, again, just to give them another try, but the D'Addario strings just beat everything as far as what I like and what I'm looking for. So like I said, those things just, they last so freaking long, the tone, and how long you gotta go before you really gotta change your strings, because I'm a lazy son of a bitch when it comes to changing strings, not gonna lie. I'm sure a lot of people are just like me with that. I hate freaking changing strings. It sucks. So fortunately, I can go quite a long time before I got to change strings, even for how hard I pick and just how much I beat the crap out of my strings. So they outlast everything that I've played. But yeah, as far as tuning, this is in D standard. This is I pretty much wanted to keep things the same as when I had the previous Ibanez that I really liked and enjoyed and played the crap out of before I sold it. And that one was also in D standard. So I just wanted to, in like fashion, just follow suit with what I had on that guitar. So I got this one in D standard, and as you guys will hear, or you have already heard, what the hell was that? This thing is being weird. Let me unplug this. Okay. No interruptions. Where was I? I forgot where I was. What the hell was I talking about? I totally forgot what I was talking about. I apologize, guys. I had a complete brain fart, and I just totally forgot what the hell I was talking about. I know when I go to watch this video, I'll obviously remember what I was talking about, but I just don't right offhand, because I don't script nothing. I just shoot from the hip. But if there's anything that I want to say in closing before I let you guys go is, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm glad I picked this guitar up. I mean, this thing is just, you can never have too many guitars. When you're full blown into music and you enjoy playing and checking other things out, you can never have too much of what you're into. I'm the same way with fishing. I can never have enough tackle, not enough plastic worms, and yeah, as far as checking out new guitars and things like that, man, I'm always down to see what else is out there. But yeah, like I said, I knew what this thing was, and I had to do an investigation. I just had to see what the hell the problem was, why nobody was buying this, and I am so glad I got this. This, as you guys heard in the video, the thing was just a monster. This thing just sounds so freaking disgusting in such a brutal way. You can't help but make that stink face too when you chug on this thing. It's just meant to be. It was meant to be from day one when I picked it up off the rack. It's just you fall in love with this shit, But that's gonna do it. you guys plan on seeing this thing in many more future videos to come. I'm trying to wrap up. I'm trying to stay organized. I'm trying to work on the most recent stuff that I wrote and recorded, and I want to try to tie up the loose ends on that, get some music back on my distro kit for you guys. Those of you guys who don't know, I do have a distro kit, and I've been posting stuff that I've written and recorded along the way for like the past couple of years on there. So all you gotta do is whatever streaming service, download service platforms you guys use, just punch in my first and last name and you'll see everything that I've uploaded up to this point. It's available for you guys to check out. And yeah, I'm gonna tie up the other music that I started writing and recording. I just want to finish that stuff up before I move on to other things. And I can't wait to get to this and just lay down some like just nasty early 90s just chug fest nasty heavy stuff. Anyway, I'm out of here. You guys have a good one. Thanks for coming to the channel. Subscribe, please do that. It helps me out. Appreciate you guys as always for coming to the channel, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.